Our next panel is on theme. It is really on theme for what we're trying to do today. We've talked a little bit this morning about media, measurement, social sort of showed up a little bit. Again, the theme of the whole day has been translating value into wealth and how you build an engine that not only takes something valuable and translates it to wealth, but how you can measure the efficacy of that. And to pick up where we left off, we're going to do a mobile as media panel. And the idea is connecting brands, consumers, and devices. And as we know, that's just a stupid title for the most important subject, which is where does the transaction begin and the brand end? Where does the brand end and the transaction begin? In a connected world, what does it truly mean, and how do we put process around it? How do we measure it? How do we monetize it? So without further ado, here's Tim Chang in the panel, and let's talk about mobile as media. Give it up, guys. Big round of applause.
Very good. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. My name is Tim Chang. I'm a managing director at the Mayfield Fund. We're a 40-year-old plus early-stage venture capital firm based in Silicon Valley, investing in the US, China, and India. I've been in the venture industry for about a dozen years, focused primarily on mobile, along with elements of digital media, including gaming. Spent a lot of time in areas like social gaming, where I invested in companies like Playdom, which Disney had purchased, NG Moco, acquired by DNA. And these days, I think we're doubling down on mobile more than ever. This panel is really timely for me because I think, gosh, we've all been on panels together for years now on mobile, and mobile's been a hot topic. It was always sort of, it's going to be the year of mobile for years, and finally it is really the year of mobile, in the sense that of all the areas that have been hot in the sort of social, mobile, local, I would argue that in sort of this post-Facebook, post-Zynga era, mobile is one of the last vestiges of hope for making money and for brands to really engage with consumers. The promises of purchasing likes and purchasing followers and all that, there's been a bit of backlash against that, I think, versus all the hype of what happened over the last couple of years. And now everybody is looking towards mobile as one of the last ways to try to make money. Question mark there, though, is that, well, it's not like mobile advertising is a truly multi-billion-dollar industry yet. It's not even clear how you market an app. There's no direct ways to do that on the platforms. You have to synthesize new ways, like cost per install, new models like that. So there's a lot of question marks and a lot that's left wide open. With that, I thought we'd explore some of these topics, and we'll launch into an introduction by each of the panelists. Please describe a bit about your role in the company, and if you can also share maybe one quick idea on the most important disruption or innovation you see in the next couple of years. Maybe we'll start with Peggy.
All right, thanks, Tim. My name's Peggy Johnson. I'm with Qualcomm. I'm head of global market development, which is all of our new businesses, mostly related to wireless. I think if there was one big disrupting factor that I see is that literally everybody will be connected in a matter of a very short amount of time. There's about 7 billion people in the world, and right now there's about 6.3 billion mobile connections. So the gap is closing, and that's a huge platform, basically humanity's biggest platform, and I think that's pretty disruptive.
Hi, my name's Gerry OSullivan. I'm SVP for Deutsche Telekom. Most of you will probably know that under the name of T and T-Mobile. We're in about 22 countries. In 10 of those countries, we run a full entertainment service, TV, mobile access. So I manage those TV and entertainment businesses. What I see going forward is a catch-up game. The most disruptive thing for me that's happened is that customers' expectations have gone through the roof, where I used to almost able to exceed their expectations. I always feel like I'm catching up now. And I blame the phone for that. I blame the smartphone. And it's made TV look as if it's back in the 70s. So I've got a bit of a challenge to provide a product and an experience that is relevant. My other concern, because of that disruptive element, is we've all been, you can't say a sentence in this room without saying Twitter or Facebook, it seems. I also have an audience that's completely irrelevant for, and I need to provide a service that's relevant to all my customers, the ones that want to be twittering exactly what they're doing every second of the day, to my dad, who just likes watching X Factor on Saturday and Downton Abbey on Sunday.
And I'm Mihir with Tapjoy. And, you know, the biggest thing we're seeing is a fundamental consumer behavior shift that I don't think is talked about enough. And that's a shift from surfing and browsing, channel surfing, internet surfing, passive browsing, to engagement. And that engagement's happening in cable with on-demand. It's happening with your DVR. And it's certainly happening in mobile, where consumers are empowered to choose and engage in tasks that they want to, rather than what's pushed at them. And I think that's redefining, and that consumer shift is what is redefining how media platforms like ourselves and ad platforms like ourselves have to deliver that media to the consumer that doesn't break up their task. And I think that's the most fundamental thing we're seeing with mobile connected TV. But guys, you know, we're seeing it with TVs. My kids rarely channel surf now. That's how I grew up. My kids are all about on demand. And how do we get an ad into that, right? With mobile, it's no different. They're choosing an app. How do you really want to disrupt a task? We at Tapjoy think we have a solution, but it's early and we're learning. But I think the most important thing for all of us to walk away with is consumer behavior has again shifted. And we have to meet that behavior in a super high quality way.
Very good. Thanks, guys. I want to start with a high-level macro question, then we'll go more topic-specific. But this is a bit of a weird year because, do you remember from mobile panels in the past years, we'd always be focused on getting distribution on the carrier deck or getting a preload on a phone. And now it feels like power is really congealed around just 4 players, and it's really shifted the power dynamics in the whole industry. What would you say is sort of the state of the industry in this relative power balance between what the carriers are doing? They used to try to be curators and portals themselves versus chipset folks and device makers trying to go up the stack, right, and have more things embedded in there versus really just Apple and Android now trying to eat everybody's lunch and having the OS be the platform, be that app store. It feels like we're all in this death match for distribution now. Everybody wants their own app store, and the consumer's facing 5 or 6 different app stores. So kind of curious your take on how that power has shifted and where it might be going.
Okay. Well, first of all, I think you're right on with the carriers. They've largely stepped back from their own app stores for the most part. There's still some going on, but for the most part. What we're trying to do is send out as integrated as possible, a chip that has everything on it, a system on a chip, basically, so that developers, have everything there in one package and they're familiar with the APIs, trying to make it easier for them because right now, if you're a small developer, many times you choose which OS you're going to follow. And I just saw a stat, there's about 1 million apps that are on both of the major OSs right now, and I think those are the ones that have the best chance of succeeding because you're looking for breadth. I mean, you don't know what they have in their hands, if it's a Android or iOS or other, and you have to do what you have to do to get that breadth. So if you can be flexible enough to go cross-platform, I think you're going to be a little bit more successful.
Good point.
From our perspective, we still have to be in the game of providing apps. I think where the difference is that we're viewing the mobile phone from my selfish perspective as a TV and entertainment guy, is that I just see the mobile phone as a 7-inch piece of glass rather than the 50 or 40-inch piece of glass that I've normally been serving to. So our customers are demanding that I offer them the same service, whether it's mobile phone, tablet, or the traditional TV screen. And the mobile phone is being used in 2 ways. It's being used as a way of just consumption of media on the move, but just as importantly, which gets confused, is also a method of control. It's a way, and it's a far better way, whether it's a mobile or a tablet, to search for content, to get recommendations, to engage with social networking, and to effectively control your own personalized entertainment ecosystem. So we have to provide that to our customers, and we can preload that on our phones.
Is the carrier power, as they're trying to become not just dumb pipes, but smarter pipes, is that leverage come through the bundling and what you price in and put into that bundle? It seems like that's one strategy carriers are trying.
You're going to take offense to that dumb pipe comment first?
Well, I'll give you one example, which is not TV, it's music.
Right.
We've just launched last week Spotify in Germany on on a particular tariff on our mobile phones. Now, to me, I mean, for those of you who know Spotify, that's a pretty good deal. You know, you basically have a mobile phone tariff that says, and all your music's for free. We don't even charge you for the data. It doesn't rank against your data usage. So we have a particular tariff that's appealing to music lovers that say, now you've got a device where you can listen to any music, anytime. And that's because of the power of bundling.
Right.
The maths don't work out, especially on music, if I don't do that as a hard bundling exercise. So bundling and price pointing is always going to be a tricky thing for us, a challenge for us, but it also gives us an opportunity to create a whole range of new propositions that are not just about bundling texts. We can bundle entertainment services now.
And it can justify why a higher price data plan should exist as we shift away from one-size-fits-all data plans. Makes sense. Mihir, what are you seeing there?
Well, I think the industry needs strong, innovative, user-friendly app stores, right? And we are seeing in certain markets those fragmenting, and in certain, so Asia, for example, you're seeing huge fragmentation in app store experience and app store providers. In North America and Europe, you're seeing some consolidation of, Amazon, Google Play, the App Store. And I think that's good. Apple Store is phenomenal. Google Play is significantly improving. Amazon, they're good at commerce, right? They know how to check you out. And I think that's all good. What's missing is a funnel to those stores, right? That markets to consumers in a way that reflects the behavior changes. Consumers want choice. They want to be empowered. They don't want a lot of static banner ads. Banner ads are just horrendous in mobile. Excuse me to all the banner folks here. It's a horrendous experience on mobile. And that's what's missing. It's the funnel to the stores. Stores are not meant to be funnel marketing. I mean, look, the #1 traffic source for the major online e-commerce stores, Amazon, eBay, it's Google, right? Google is not a store. They're a really good funnel. And, a little selfishly I'm saying is that's what Tapjoy is. So I think the value chain is going to have some part of that, the actual transaction. But I think the majority of the value chain is in delivering to a consumer the right discovery option and then the right engagement option to get the right content.
So the view is that the world is getting appified anyway. We'll have different folks trying to aggregate it. We'll also have a lot of brands and publishers trying to go direct with their apps. You have a plethora of app stores. Let me ask this. You operate across a lot of the app stores, and one of the things Tapjoy figured out is one of the best mobile ad formats is another mobile app, right?
Well, sure.
How is traction on those other non-Google, non-Apple app stores going so far? You've had the third-party independent ones, you've had carrier attempts, you've had other different types of app stores, but are they getting usage?
So we don't have a lot of data on carrier attempts. The carriers have moved slow. In my from a Valley guy in San Francisco, probably similar to you, Tim. We move in quarters, and they move in kind of Olympic cycles. And having said that, we are seeing some more aggressive movement out of the Asian players. And so we have recently done deals with Gphone in China, the #1 Android app store, SK Telekom, with SK Planet in Korea, the #1 Android app store there with about 50–60% of market share. And they move fast. And what they are building is a full kind of value stack, partnering with folks like us that understand funnel mechanics and discovery. And that's working very well. It's also working very well with Apple and Google.
Last question before we shift gears. Who spends the most on app marketing these days? Is it the startups? Is it game companies? Is it online guys or traditional brands?
You know, it's funny, and thanks for the softball. 2 years ago was all app developers. Not surprising, early in the market, Zynga, EA, Disney Interactive. You know, the bigger startups were spending heavily. They still are. But, you know, it was interesting. I was looking at our internal consoles, Tapjoy's internal consoles, and the top 5 spenders last week, and this is anecdotal, 2 of them were app developers out of Europe, and this is global spend. Samsung was another. And we had a theatrical launch from Universal. And that's totally different than if you rewinded, you know, 12 months ago, all 5 would have been, you know, some level of game developer, not just app developer. Oh, number 5 was eBay. You know, and so we've seen a huge shift. We've gone from 0 of the Ad Age 100 running promotions through to Tapjoy users to, I think we're 50 or 60 with a 90% re-up rate every month. So it's shifted fundamentally.
And generally, the ad spend goal is to get an install of the app of that brand?
No, it's all over the place. It's everything from driving to local purchases. It's to social campaigns. To Ford and GM have both run, excuse me, Ford has run and GM is about to run major, in effect, television campaigns where a consumer chooses to watch one of their TV commercials, and in exchange for that, they get access to content. I mean, it's a phenomenal model because, again, the user is in the mindset of choosing what content they want to engage with. And so the concept of them also choosing what advertiser they want to sponsor that content is phenomenal.
Good, good. I think for the audience that's notable to pay attention to is that even a year ago, all this mobile app marketing spend was literally you're just trying to buy your way up the app charts so that you'd be top 10, top 20, and then drive downloads. Because I think we were, like I said, in a death match just to get downloads before. But it sounds like we're evolving towards true, you know, multi-screen campaigns. I want to shift gears a little bit and ask Peggy. Qualcomm is the arms dealer for, like you said, all the developers, the startups creating new devices, and you're effectively shifting towards a world where the phone or the guts of a phone, that whole system is almost like a Lego building block you can put in anything. And I've been impressed because Qualcomm is taking a very aggressive charge in even areas like mobile health devices, self-tracking, et cetera. What are the other form factors you're really bullish on? Is it sort of the Nike Fuel type devices, the 7-inch tablets? Are there other, you know, kind of device form factors which then expands what mobile really means?
Yeah, I think there's a couple things. I think we'll see the phone start to break up a little bit. I'm a big advocate of having a phone for women. We have purses, and they're usually in our purse. So if we could put something, whether it's on our wrist or something around our neck, you could tell that someone's calling, a quick way to answer back. I think that sort of thing is coming for certain. The other thing that I think would be particularly relevant for this market is the use of radios in the handsets for this idea of proximate networks. So we all have a ton of radios in our handsets, and they can actually talk to each other directly. So Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, there's even a direct version of 4G coming, and that'll create networks where in the panel previously we were talking about the billboard in Times Square. That billboard will be able to sense that you've walked by, and you can decide how much or how little of your profile you want to share. But it could know that every day 3,000 males between 20 and 30 who are interested in sports walk by. That's the sort of thing that's coming. And it's, you know, largely the hardware is there. It's really just a matter now of, you know, putting together the right privacy and security models and platforms around that.
And is it fair to say, with the connectivity, they'll all be somewhat App Store capable or remote access capable? So I guess you could say every product maker really needs to think about, should I add connectivity to my product, and then even what would a little App Store for that look like too?
Yeah, I mean, our customers used to be handset manufacturers, and now they're literally everybody. We're a big part of the CES show in Las Vegas now because everything wants to be connected. It doesn't all have to be connected at each point cellular-wise. That's why it's so important to start looking at those other radios that are in your handset. And then you can do a hop to the smaller radios and then eventually hit some access point to the cloud. So the idea of these networks sort of forming virtually and then falling apart at different times in the day is something that I think this audience can take advantage of, because they're going to be very much tuned to who you want to aim at. You'll know now. It'll be an interesting world.
And it feels like we're seeing that in the home already. Every appliance theoretically could have cloud connectivity, and they could speak to the same Wi-Fi router in the home, right? Are you also seeing that then everything starts to have a companion, almost remote control sort of app? There's a great quote in the Valley that the smartphone is the remote control for the world now, and we're seeing that.
I thought we made that up. Did you guys make that up?
It's out there now. But it's like with your iPhone or Android app, you can control the mood lighting in your house because now your LED light bulbs are cloud connected, and your fridge can tell you that, oh, somebody left the door ajar. And we had a toilet manufacturer come by and say, we're looking at App Store strategies. It sounds silly, but it actually makes a ton of sense if there, for example, is urine analysis sensors built in, all those sorts of things.
Yeah. Where do I go with that? So what I would say is that phrase, the remote control for your life, your phone really is that. There's a great Time mobility poll out right now that says something like 84% of the people will not go through a day without their cell phone. And if they had the choice of leaving their lunch or their cell phone behind, something like 65% would leave the lunch behind. So clearly it's with us all the time. It's set up to be the remote control of our life. But what you're talking about does present a problem. Do we need an app for every one of those things? Or do I need a toaster app? Really, the way we're looking at it is your phone should be aware of those things, kind of the contextual awareness that we were talking about on the other panels. So as you move through your day, things just happen. So your lights aren't on until it senses your car coming into the home, then the lights go on. Heat can go on, cooling can go on, without you working at the app level. It should just sort of happen. And we have enough sensors in the handsets to do those things.
Do your clients and partners, they often ask you for help on, hey, who can build that companion app for us? And does Qualcomm start to get pulled into the software world too?
We do, and we do a fair amount of app development. But that is a problem, because as you go into these non-wireless industries, they all want to be connected. And they usually don't know much about radios, and radios are weird things. You have to, put shielding around them. And many times aren't mobile app developers, the small light. They might have developed apps on the desktop, and it's really a completely different thing. So we do offer help along those lines.
Makes sense. Gerry, it'd be helpful, I think, for our audience to understand what are the differences between the US and Europe markets, whether it's consumer behaviors or even how things are bundled or how content is made available?
Well, I know the New York market. I worked here for 4 years in TV at Fox News and WBIS down the road. All markets worldwide have some just basic get-right principles, and sometimes it concerns me that we do go off into the stratosphere of having all these fantastic things. I won't mention the urine sampling again, but not getting the basics right. And our customers leave us mainly if they have a problem and we don't answer the phone and we don't solve their problem. Some pretty basic customer service stuff is ubiquitous all around the world. And I've seen that in Australia, I've seen that in New York, and I've seen that around Europe. Where things start becoming different is the amazing diversity that you see, and I saw this in the States as well, between the different communities. But in Europe, you know, within half an hour, you've got a country with a different language and a different cultural experience. And content then becomes something that you need to be very aware of in the local market, not only what content you're offering, but how you're presenting it. And the example I'll give you, which I've come across recently, is that, say, for instance, in Germany, erotic content is something that we can openly discuss and openly talk about monetizing, and that's fine. If I go to my friends in Slovakia, that's a subject I will not say at the table. However, if you reverse that in Slovakia, they are very, very keen on gaming and sports betting products. And again, that is the subject I would not bring up at a German board meeting. And they're only effectively 40-minute flight away from each other. So you have to be very local market aware of what content you should be providing, how you present it. And I think, again, this is where it's tricky. We've got all this technology. We've got 4G coming along at the moment, but I have to bring along the content world. I mean, without the content guys, we're nothing. I mean, we talk about advertising, but what are you advertising on? You're advertising on the fact that people are consuming or having experiences on their phone. And the content world is lagging because we haven't done a good job enough yet of explaining the technologies and explaining the opportunities that we've got for their content. They're more worried about things like piracy, for instance.
Sounds like one trend then we will see is more fine-grained bundles by location and then by audience type. And so a shift away from one-size-fits-all aggregation at one price point then. Mm-hmm. Very good. I think we're at time, but do we have time for a question or two, or should we just cut it off there? All right, very good. I guess we're out of time. Thank you very much. Let's give a warm round of applause.
Let's give a warm round of applause for me. Thank you so much, Tim. I really appreciate it.